Jill Pavlov, and she is the proprietor of Your Creative Concierge. Now, yield the floor. You'll tell us all about your business.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Rose.
Absolutely.
No applause. That's for Rose, that's for Rose. Just kidding.
I'm for it.
She's also a comedian.
I'm also a comedian, which you'll be able to tell by the end of this, hopefully. Hi everyone, thank you guys for coming out and being here today. I hope that by the time you leave this room, you'll really thank yourself for coming here today, because you're going to learn a lot about how to market yourself online today. But first off, who the heck am I? My name is Jill Pavlov Vasquez, and I'm the owner of Your Creative Concierge. It's a copywriting agency that I started about 2 years ago after spending a very long time in the marketing and copywriting corporate world. I wanted to be able to serve a multitude of different clients and get a little edgy with my own copywriting, and that's kind of my special sauce, is really being sassy, as Rose mentioned, and again, as you saw, I'm a comedian. But I also just love teaching people about the value of copywriting. And before I even get into anything, let me just say copywriting is not your trademark, it's not your patents. I'm not the person you want to turn to for any kind of legal anything. Copywriting relies more on the latter half of its name, writing, copywriting. So I'll get into that in just a minute, but I just wanted to make that very clear before you ask me any legal advice. We're talking about your marketing copy today, which no matter what industry you're in, everyone needs. So we're going to start off, we're going to play a little game, all right? It's just a word association game, so just say the first thing that comes to your head when I say, I'm loving it.
McDonald's.
How about the happiest place on earth?
Disney.
Eat fresh.
Subway?
Subway.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Nike.
We have the meats.
Arby's.
America runs on,
Dunkin'.
and maybe she's born with it, maybe it's, and that is copywriting. Okay, enjoy your lunch, guys. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding.
Catch you one-liners.
So basically, copywriting, the very powerful fact that I'm able to say a phrase and you are able to associate a brand with it is what copywriting is in essence. It's training our audiences to respond how we want them to take action on our websites or on our emails or on our social media. Copywriting, here's the boring definition, copywriting is the art and science of writing persuasive content that prompts people to take action such as making a purchase, signing up for a service, or engaging a brand. It's not just about putting words together, it's not just about typing a prompt into ChatGPT and putting out whatever comes out of it. It's really about strategizing what is going to cause your target audience to take the action that you want them to. And as this says, great content is the best sales tool in the world, especially in 2024. So the first thing that you guys have to realize when we're talking about getting attention online is that you're a fucking stranger. You are a stranger to anyone who doesn't know you online. And you might be the best realtor in the world. You might be the best networker in the world. You might be the best at what you do. But for someone just coming across your LinkedIn profile or your website or whatever, you are a stranger and you have zero credibility with them. It is on you to become credible in their eyes so that they want to communicate with you, so that they want to buy from you, so that they want to work with you. So don't ever take for granted that people know things about you. It is on you to constantly be telling them who you are, what you can provide, how you can make their life better. So yes, people are naturally lazy. We have the attention span of this. So you really have to hook them in and really tell them why they should pay attention to you. You need to stand out or risk losing their interest. There are plenty of people who are in the same industries, and some of them get attention and some of them don't. And the difference is that they are really hitting their target audience, they really know who their target audience is, and they're really finding ways to connect with them and to differentiate themselves from all of their other competitors. Because you're a stranger, the good news is that means that you can craft your aspirational identity. What does that mean? That means essentially me as a copywriter, if no one knows anything about me, the only thing they're gonna know about me is what I tell them. They're not gonna know, that I wet the bed when I was 7 years old, or they're not gonna know, that my breath smells bad in the morning. But what they're gonna know is that I can enhance their marketing, that I can make their lives easier by taking that off their plates and giving them more time in their businesses. You can use your words to tell people everything that you want them to know about you. And that is the beauty of being a stranger online, because you're starting off with a blank slate. So, like I said, before you become someone's something, you are their nothing. And until then, you have to craft that credibility. You have to create that trust. Because when it comes down to it, we only work with people and we only buy things from companies that we trust. You need to trust that they are going to do what they say they're going to do, or that their product is going to do what they say they're going to do. You need to, sometimes reviews are a great way of seeing that trust. Actually, that's what I'm getting into next. So, how do we create that credibility? The first one is by using social proof. Social proof is a very strong psychological trigger. And I don't have psychological triggers in this presentation, but I talk a lot about psychology-driven copy, because that's essentially what we're doing with our marketing, is we're trying to get into the heads of our potential customers to get them to do what we want. It's kind of like manipulation 101, and it's kind of fun. So how do we build that credibility? How do we stand out as that authoritative figure just in our copy? The first thing is to show results and your USPs. USP means your unique selling proposition. So results, that's reviews, that's testimonials, that's, if you're in something like a beauty industry, that's before and after pictures or something like that. It's proof that people have been there and have gotten successful results. If you can show people that other people have done this and they've gotten the results that you desire, that's what's going to hook them. That's what's going to make you trustworthy, is that other people have done it too. Also, transparency equals trust. We're in an age where we're talking on the computer, we're talking online, but we want to be talking like humans to each other, and we want to be very transparent in how we do things and how things are run in our business. And honesty really is just the key to getting that trust from your customers. So be transparent when you can. And generating consistent content is also a way to create credibility. If you go to someone's website and they have blogs that are published every week, you know that they're up on their game. You know that they're out there and they know their craft and they know what they're talking about. If you go somewhere and someone and you can't even find them online, that immediately creates zero credibility. So having more content and it being consistent too, right? Not like posting one day and then dropping off for a month. Again, it's about training your audience with habits. And when we send our emails and when we post our social media, those things are habits that we're training our audience. Like, every Tuesday is going to be Tip Tuesday, or whatever it is. The consistency in the content really, really helps to create loyalty. And then I have be real and be real patient, because credibility takes time. You're not just going to overnight convince somebody that you are the one for them. Just like with your SEO strategy, your content, these things take time, they take building. I didn't feel traction in my business right away. I knew I was a great copywriter, but it took time to let everyone else know that. So don't get frustrated, just keep putting out that content, know that you are the expert, and it will come. Also, you want to hook your audience immediately. Again, we live in a 3-second, and I mean it when I say 3-second attention span world. Have you ever listened to, have you ever been on a YouTube video? If you go on a YouTube video and they have a little skip ad button, if you listen to the first 3 seconds of that ad, they are putting their most important thing out there. They are hooking you in that first 3 seconds. I always try to take notes of the ads that I see on YouTube, because those first three things, that first thing that you say is the thing that's either going to make or break them sticking around on your website or sticking around on your email. So you have to hook people immediately. First and foremost, picture and video quality count. So that means, using appropriate pictures for Instagram, not like screenshots of stuff. Make sure that what they're seeing visually is also appealing in order for them to stop scrolling, and that it's relevant to the content that you're posting. I also just like to put myself in my target audience's shoes. Like, would I stop scrolling for this? Like, am I just posting this to, like, maybe get a few people to say that I look pretty today? Or am I posting it to really give value to some people and to have them see that, like, I'm someone that can help them in this industry? And again, provide real value. The information that you are putting out there, it is not for you. It is for them. You know, we say put the customer first, and it is so true when you're writing about copy, because the customer doesn't want to hear about you. They don't care about you unless they're maybe trying to date you. They really don't care. They care about what you can do for them, and that is what needs to come across in your messaging. And when you can consistently provide value, you know, like in copywriting, I'm always giving people tips on my social media of different things. When you can provide that real value, that's how people want to keep coming back. They don't want to keep coming back for content that's all about you, unless you're a celebrity, totally different. So I touched on psychological triggers a little bit before. There's a few that work really well to hook your audience immediately, which are fear, kind of like a FOMO, urgency, distant cousin, curiosity. That's a big one. If you've ever seen those clickbaity titles towards the end of an article that's like, here's what's going on with singles in your area, or whatever it is, that curiosity, that thing that makes you click on the article, like, you won't believe what Dua Lipa did last night. Things like that is what gets people to their curiosity going and gets them to want to click on it. And along with curiosity, I just want to say, like, less is more as well. You don't want to give people everything, let's say, in a social media post. You want to give them a little taste, but then they click on the link to your blog and then go to the deeper dive. If you're just giving them all the information, it doesn't give them anywhere to go. Tease them a little bit. It is a little game of, like, cat and mouse in that sense. And then I already talked about social proof. Make it relatable to your target audience. I also have a slide in some other presentations that talks about target audience a little bit deeper. So I just want to cover it really quickly, which is that we could have a bunch of hairdressers in this room, and every hairdresser would have a different target audience. Some of them might be targeting mature hair, some of them might be targeting ethnic hair, some of them might be targeting men. Those different audiences changes how you're going to speak when you're writing your copy. You're not going to talk to a busy mother the same way that you're going to talk to, you know, a Gen Z skateboarder. I don't know. So you have to make it relatable to your target audience. It's really sit down and think about who your target audience is. I have made a whole avatar for my target audience, including her name, which is Rebecca, her age. You really want to create this person that you're talking to, because then it makes it so much easier to write your copy. If you have in your minds, like, an idea of who you're talking to, it just makes it easier to talk. And I always like to ask a question that forces them to say yes. Because if you can ask them a question that forces them to say yes, then obviously they're going to want to keep reading. If you can say, do you relate to this? Do you resonate with this? Is this causing you problems? Would this sound great to you? If you can get them to say yes, then they have a reason to keep reading on. So here are some attention-getting don'ts. These are the things that you don't want to do when it comes to trying to get attention online. Don't ever assume anyone knows anything about you on every platform. A lot of people don't like the self-promotion game, but it is a necessity. And do not take for granted the fact that if you post something on Facebook, the people in your email list, the people on your Instagram, the people on your TikTok, they might miss it, because not everyone is following you on every single platform. So the platforms that you're on, if you're promoting something, make sure to promote on every single one of them. It is not annoying, it is not overdone, it's just reaching people that you might not reach on another platform. I know my Facebook and Instagram audiences are totally different. And I know that if I post something on Instagram, there's gonna be a lot of people on Facebook that are gonna miss it. I know that if I post some stuff on Instagram, I don't wanna post it on Facebook because that's a different audience for me. Don't over promote or oversell. Again, we wanna come from a place of value. What is in it for the customer? That doesn't mean don't sell. Obviously, we want to sell our stuff, but don't make it obvious. Don't over promote, don't oversell. Not every social post should have a hard call to action. Not every social post, buy. you want to make sure that along with those kind of hard sell posts, it's really a kind of like an 80-20. You know, maybe 20 of the hard sell posts and 80% more value. Don't assume you know what your audience wants. You can do research. The great thing about being in this digital world is that we don't need to like pay for market research surveys anymore. Like this is something that they used to do. Like they would come in around a table like this, probably a very similar lunch setup, and they would pay like buku bucks to like try to get people to give their opinions on their products. And we don't have to do that anymore because we have social media. You literally have a direct line to your customers to be able to say, hey, what's working? What's not working? What do you guys like to see? You can see their reactions in real time and help to give them what they want, what they resonate with. Also, don't try to sound smart. Unless we're in the world of like academia, we're writing like a scholarly thesis paper. This is emails, this is social media, this is blogs. We're not trying to sound like Einstein. What we're trying to do is be as relatable as possible. And again, back to people being lazy, not a lot of us want to think when we have to read these days. I know personally when I go an article, I'm looking right for the bullet points. Where's the cliff notes? You know, it's not about throwing as many big words as you can to them. It's about making the words that you do use matter and making them easy for the people who are reading them. And don't be long-winded. Again, you know, our attention spans are this short. For a social media post, you might want to make it shorter, and then it's like, hey, if anyone wants to do a deeper dive, here's this blog. And that's where you can get a little bit more long-winded. But things like emails and social posts, be concise, and your website as well, be concise. Personal pet peeve. I'm sure you guys have all been tagged in the @everyone on Facebook. Don't do it. Don't do it, because once you lose a follower, it is so much harder to get them back. I personally, as soon as someone does that, I block. I'm not going to. This is not going to blow up my feed every day. And that's what people might be saying about you. And again, why is that? Because look at this word, everyone. We don't want everyone. You don't want everyone. Not everyone is your customer. You want the people who are going to be your target audience. This does nothing. This does nothing. Yeah.
What do you mean by @everyone?
Have you ever seen on
Like
Facebook?
where they have a bunch of people, like you've actually gone onto your phone and said, like tagged every single one of your friends?
There's a way to go on Facebook that you can highlight a comment or highlight a post and tag @everyone, and it will notify all of your friends.
Okay.
And it's
everyone in
rude,
a group.
honestly.
Yeah, I get it.
Or anywhere in a group.
Yeah, or I have other people that I just defriended someone the other day because she kept tagging me in like her fat loss stuff. I'm like,
Right.
you know,
And then that
that's,
shows up in your feed, right? Like if you're
Yes.
tagged in someone's
yeah,
feed,
so
it
it's
shows that you were
really, yeah.
tagged.
So when you become this person, no
Right.
one wants to be your friend, and just like with emails as well, and I'm gonna get into that, like
Okay.
once someone leaves your email list, you're probably not getting them back.
It's like getting a group text with 100 people,
Yeah,
and then everybody's replying to that text, and you're getting all the replies from everybody too.
exactly.
So I have to delete, on my phone, I have to go in there, delete and block the conversation.
Yeah, you're turning
It's
people
just
off.
bad social media etiquette.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. Personal pet peeve. It's bad, but it's also an attention getting dope because some people think, oh, I'm just going to tag everyone and things are going to happen, and it doesn't because it's not targeted. It absolutely
Maybe
does
it's
the
one of those-
opposite.
All of marketing is like all publicity is good publicity, even if it's bad publicity, like even if it's negative.
But see, that's a
Let
little
them
different
think,
because
let's let them hate me for doing this, and then they're at the top of your mind now. But there's nothing to it you're saying. There's just
it's a little more, if you're getting into publicity, that's very different than marketing because publicity is like your reputation. Marketing is really like how you're getting people to buy, and it's just such a fast way to turn people off. It's not really worth it. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of email marketing because this is how we want our customers to look when they open our emails. We want them to be happy and excited. I was just telling someone on the phone the other day that she was just kind of asking me about my business, and I was telling her that email marketing is my favorite thing to do. It's because I used to love when I was a kid getting letters from my friends at camp, and maybe they would have some stickers on them or like a fun little game. And that's how I want my people to be when they open my emails. I want them to be excited because think about how many emails you guys get, especially that junk email address. I mean, I'm sure I have like 100 new ones just from standing up here. It's a lot. Again, we have a short attention span as a society, and we are also overloaded with content. So it's your responsibility to stand out above all that boring and bland and untargeted content. So first things first, get your stiletto in the door with subject lines. Subject lines are one of my favorite things. I love my little morning ritual of going through my emails and seeing which subject lines catch my eye personally. And here's kind of some of the stuff that I've learned. So 47% of email recipients will open an email based on the subject line alone. Makes sense. Obviously, the only thing you know about the email before you open it is the subject line. So that really is your make or break of whether or not people are going to open it. Open rates are increased by 50% when subject lines are personalized. That means putting someone's name in it. Urgent subject lines increase the open rate by an average of 22%. When you say urgent, that's something like that's how I got this jacket. Hey, 50% off sale ends tonight. I might not have had this jacket if not for that subject line, because I don't know if I would have bought it if it weren't. I would have bought it if it weren't 50% off, let's be honest. But seriously, urgent subject lines, they do. If you think that this promotion is going to run out or the stock of an item is going to run out, that gives a little bit more urgency. And on average, email subject lines between 61 to 70 characters are read the most at 17%. So that's characters. I would say no more than 9 words in your subject line. And 9 is pushing it. The name of the game is make it as short and sweet as possible while still getting the message across.
Now, Jill, are we talking about mass emails right now, or are we talking about emails in general, like an email to my client regarding?
I would say this is more for when you're sending out like an email newsletter. I wouldn't, when you're just talking to different people, like if you have a client who has if you want to sum up a meeting or whatever it is, I think that's a little bit more individual based. I'm more talking about when you're marketing to people. So not like when you already have them and they're your client and you're
like a blast, like an event, like a one-time thing that we're doing, or
yes, then yeah, that would apply to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like a follow-up. If you're doing like a follow-up to one person, you can use all that to make sure that
Urgent.
they open it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this can be applied to. I'm more meaning to apply it at scale, but definitely most of these do apply to individual as well. So here's some best practices for subject lines. Be clear and concise, kind of already went over that. Relevance, so you need to ensure that the subject line reflects what is in the email. That means don't overpromise, don't mean promise something that's not in there, and that means get to the point. I'm actually going to skip to this one because it kind of goes with that. Highlight the benefits. What is your audience going to get by opening this? Is that clear in your subject line? Do I know what I'm going to get out of opening this email? Again, I'm a big fan of questions because questions really divide people into are they your target audience or are they not? And if they are, they should hopefully want to continue to read. So any questions that address a pain point or a problem that you solve are really good for subject lines. And lastly, one of the best practices that you can do is A/B testing, or what's known as split testing. And that's where your mail server, and now this is definitely something that you can't really do as an individual. This is definitely something for mass mailing. But your email server should be able to take your audience, divide it into 2, and if you have 2 different subject lines, send half of them one subject line, send half of them the other, and then you get to collect the data and see which one your audience responded the best to. So you might find that questions work for your audience. You might find that urgency works best, but marketing and copywriting and email marketing, it's all just one big game of let's see how it works out, because we can have all this expertise, but sometimes putting it out there is really what nails down what's working for us.
And you do that by sending both ways and seeing
Yeah, usually, so I know MailChimp, all the big ones that you send to your email address, they all have an A/B test, and it usually is called A/B test function, but they all have that function to send out different ones.
Okay.
And I know, and Shopify, and I'm not a Shopify expert, but they even have A/B testing for websites. So you have one website that goes to people and one website that, your 2 websites are totally different. So there's lots of ways to do A/B testing. Data, and I probably should mention this, but yes, collecting data when it comes to your marketing is crucial because, again, like I said, you never want to assume what your audience wants, but when you've done enough of this and collected enough data, you'll start to really know what they want. And And then, so I'm going to go through the AIDA framework quickly. I operate out of the AIDA framework because the AIDA framework is really what helps us to tell a story in our marketing. And marketing is all about telling a story. You know, during Christmas time with the polar bears and Santa, that's like such a story, bringing yourself into that warm Christmas time feeling. It's a way to create a story. There is a brilliant book by Donald Miller called Building a Story Brand. And I typically mention it around this time in my presentations because his philosophy is that you are not the hero. Your customer is the hero and you are the guide. Right? Every good story has a hero. Every good story has a hero on a mission, and you are the guide to guide them through this mission. So the AIDA framework kind of helps to tell a story, and it helps your customer to picture themselves as the hero in this story. So A stands for attention. That's your attention-grabbing headline. We kind of covered that. That's where you're really grabbing them, nailing down your target audience. The next one is interest. I also like to call this pain points. This is where you're really drawing them in and talking about what your audience might be going through, what they're struggling with. You know, this is kind of, I like to call it like the tug at the heartstrings moment. What is your audience struggling with that is going to have them reach out to you and buy your product or service? Once they have that interest of like, okay, this sounds like me, yeah, I'm going through that, okay, yeah, I could use some help with that. Then you come in with desire, which I also call solution, the problem solution. So you build the desire by showing them, hey, look how good we can make things. You're suffering from all this. My company can do this, or my product can do this. This is what we do. This is where you point out your differentiators, everything that makes you special, everything that makes you wonderful, all the reasons that someone should hire you or buy your product go into this section. And so then it becomes like a story that they see themselves in. You get their attention, we're realizing the problem, we find the solution, and then the next thing that comes is taking action. That's the last A. You should never have any email or blog or social post without a call to action. And it doesn't have to be a hard call to action. It doesn't have to be a buy or a sell. A call to action can be, hey, join our free Facebook group to like find more resources. But there has to be some kind of action because otherwise the story is just coming to an end and you're not giving your potential customer anywhere to go to find out how to work with you or how they can make their lives better with what you're offering. Just a few email best practices. So building, this is what I was kind of talking about also with the following everyone. Building a quality email list and not overstaying your welcome. Quality email list means that quality does not equal quantity, first off. So quality means your target customers, people who really need to hear what you're saying, really want to hear what you're saying, and don't overstay your inbox welcome. So a question that I'll get a lot is, how often should I be emailing my people? And that's going to be different for every industry, for every person, because some companies, you know, a daily email is very appropriate. Some companies, a daily email is the quickest way to that unsubscribe box. So I would always recommend starting out with a lower amount and building up if your audience really likes it. Like I would say, start with like 1 or 2 a month. See how that goes. If they're really liking it, maybe up it to once a week. If it calls for it, maybe up it to twice a week. But really figure out if you're spending your time wisely in their inbox. You don't want to have them press that dreaded unsubscribe button.
Yeah, I do that quite often because if I get daily emails, they'll say, "Why did you unsubscribe?" And I'll just say, "Too many emails."
Too many emails, yeah, exactly. Because they're certain, like, my people don't need to know about copywriting every day. I would annoy them if I showed up every day with some tips for copywriting. I think, you know, I like to do it bi-weekly because then it gives them a chance to miss you. It's kind of like with dating. Give them a chance to miss you a little bit and make them want you. Again, put yourself in their shoes. Would I enjoy reading this? Does this add value in my life? Would this get me to take action? You really have to take your business owner hat off and try to look at it with eyes that aren't your own. That's not an easy thing to do. I think that's probably one of my specialties because I'm such a theater kid and love to act, is I always kind of take myself out of myself and think about, okay, if I were someone else, how would this make me feel? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Optimized for mobile users. Do not discount that. Your email server should have a way for you to see what it's going to look like on someone's desktop and what it's going to look like on someone's mobile. And as we all are mobile users, we all know we're like on the toilet first thing in the morning, checking the emails. A lot of people are on their phone when they're opening their emails, so make sure layout-wise that it also looks good on a mobile. And maintain consistency. Consistency is key in all areas of life, but definitely with your copy. Like I said, people don't grow followings overnight, but when you start to put out a lot of blogs, a lot of thought leadership posts, that's really when you start to get a genuine following. Again, it's about forming habits in your customers. Oh, every Wednesday they're going to drop a blog where I can learn this. Okay, I'll start to know that. And then again, tracking your data, tracking your open rates, your click-through rates, and your conversion rates to see how you're performing and analyzing that. And I can send you guys all the slides as well, so that if you want to take a deeper dive, we'll send them out.
On a daily basis, you're going to send the slides?
No, just when this is over.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Just because it's different.
We might have
Just gonna do every morning, just telling you guys a joke every day.
One slide a day.
Just because I know this is a little hard to read up on here, but this is this email got me an almost 70% open rate. The subject line was, "This is the most important email in your inbox today," which, you know, it stands out. It intrigues me. And then, you know, I had the AIDA framework in here, and it was all about subject lines was the topic. You can see my call to action button. You know, you always want to make that call to action button stand out as well. It's got to jump out of the page, usually in different colors than your brand colors. And then lastly, I think this is the last slide, because Beyonce always goes last. Dare to be different. We are all in different industries, but I don't know where I was going with that thought. Think outside the box and then jump 100 more feet outside of that. I always say that because here's the thing, when it comes to our marketing and what we're putting out there for content, it's all about trial and error. And unless you're offending someone, which I don't think you will be, really all you're going to lose is your time. And you're just going to, and it's not even a loss of time because you're learning something from it. So think of different ideas, something unique, something different, and just try it out. Take that risk. Like, you know, I'll post pictures of my cat, even though it has nothing to do with copywriting, because I think it's a good idea. I think it's cute. Like today I did something like Cat GPT, and it was different, you know? Not all copywriters are doing that. And one of the ways that I come up with some ideas is I look at disruptors in other industries, not even in my own industry. For example, I have a friend who is a realtor, and he makes these amazing videos where he'll come into a house, he'll be like, "This $1 million pool sucks. I mean, who would want to relax? And they have a grill out here. This sounds terrible." And the joke is that he's like making fun of this like gorgeous house, but it's different. You don't expect to see a realtor like trashing one of their properties, but it draws you in. And then obviously by the visual, you see how beautiful the place is. But just unique, different things. Again, we're scrolling on our phones all day long. Give them something different that's not the norm of what they're going to see. I always say surprise and delight is the cousin to above and beyond. So not only going above and beyond, but in your emails you can give little, like, train your audience to know that maybe there's going to be a surprise in that email when they open it. Just always be thinking of how to go above and beyond and be unique and different. And the other thing I like to do is incorporate pop culture or fun and interesting references. And the reason for that is because, and I've learned this as a comedian, people love to be in on the joke. We love to know what's going on. We love to be a part of things. So if you're putting, for example, when Taylor and Travis were everywhere, I saw so many companies, from marketing companies to CBD companies to dance studios, all using pictures or memes of Taylor and Travis. And it worked because you have to live under a rock to not know about Taylor and Travis, you know? And it's getting people to be like, "Oh, I know that joke. I'm in on that. Yeah, I get that." And it connects people in a different way to your material. And lastly, always ask yourself, what would Beyonce do? You cannot look away from this woman. She's always reinventing herself. She's always trying new things. I can barely stop looking at her right now, just with that fierceness. But just think, what would Beyonce do? If you remember nothing else today, please leave here with what would Beyonce do. And that's my presentation. If you guys want to do, I'm giving a free copy audit. It's a 15-minute call where we'll jump on. I'll look at your website, or if you want me to look at an email, I can do that too. And I'll just kind of go through with my expert eye and tell you where things could need a little tweaking. Yeah.
Can I have a couple questions?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll give it some color by relating it to my business.
Yeah.
Right. So title, real estate title. Everyone has in their Facebook feed the key picture, right? You have obnoxious pictures with the key, right? People have closed they'll close and then key, or the sign with their face in it. I think it's obnoxious. I don't know. I think it's just.
So I think you think it's a little overdone.
I think it's a little overdone.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there, right? Because I feel like that's just everyone else is doing that.
Yeah.
Or should we go there? You know, I mean that's the question. So that's where I am in our marketing is I don't want to be that, you know, look at us, we just closed at Esquire title. I don't think we're not differentiating. We're not different. We're not communicating anything we're doing above and beyond. It doesn't communicate our service level.
Yeah.
How can I take that, you know, what would be an example of being different in a market where everyone else is doing the key picture? Where do we pivot from there? Do we not? Or do we?
No, I would absolutely pick. I mean, that's like I feel like that's literally what I'm preaching today, and it's such a good example that you kind of brought to life for everyone, which is like, don't do what everyone else is doing, because how is that going to stand out? Oh, another key picture. Oh, another. And I don't have any specific answers for you right now, because I need to go into my creative state a little bit more.
Right.
But it is, you know, again, looking at disruptors in other industries. And even looking at disruptors in your industry, and I'm not saying steal ideas, but sometimes it can just spark other ideas off of that. I think it's just really doing the research and then brainstorming about what does make you different and how can we kind of do that. But I think that it's a really good example of absolutely leading away from the crowd.
I think that's where we could benefit from having someone with your expertise really look at what we do and how we do it, and then say, okay, because we don't want to be the corner title firm. We want to be a level above that.
Of course.
So we don't want the bench ad. We don't want the billboard. We don't want the mass marketing, social media. We want to be almost like we have a concierge closing since '79. It's much more custom, direct access to Rose and her team, direct access to instant questions answered.
Yeah.
It's much more catered, customized concierge. But then you have your firm is even concierge.
I know.
You know that's what you're. So it's almost like, how do you?
I like the word concierge because it denotes the type of service that I give. Like, I'm so high touch with my clients. A lot of them
It's
say
so custom.
I keep them so organized.
And I like the word concierge, but then again, we also want to tell them what we do.
Yeah.
So it's, and everyone knows the key picture, right? When they see a key picture in a closing and happy people, they're like, oh, that they must have closed their real estate purchase at that person's. I don't know what a title company does, but they help these people buy a house. Okay, second question is, I know in Maria's presentation last month, she talked about the best marketing is when other people talk about you. That carries so much more weight than when you're talking about yourself and how great you are, and then you even mentioned it as well. So the question is, what is the best vehicle for other people ringing your bell? Like, are we over Facebook now? Are we over Instagram? Or are we? Is it another social media channel? Is it our website? Like, is it mass email marketing?
That's going to be different for every company, every industry, as far as like where it's going. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, I wouldn't say any of them are over. It just depends where your people are hanging out.
But then, would you like take a Gmail? Are you posting your Gmail reviews in a particular spot? I don't even know if that's possible, but like.
I have a section for testimonials on my website. Mm-hmm. I try to push them on my social media. Like, I'll usually do on Fridays. Sometimes I'll release like something that someone said. And getting people to talk about you, that's kind of just one of those things that is like consistency. And when I'm talking about like be real and be real patient, like not everyone's going to be buzzing about you. But in Facebook groups is like a great way as well. It's just about getting the conversation started, and then once people see how good you are, talking about it, you can also give incentives as well,
Word of mouth.
right?
Like word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth, but like
But
you can
how do you
also
tell people of the word, like how do you get people to say, hey, use Rose for title? Like,
And Google.
like how are you publishing that to the world?
I mean, like I said, like on social media, on your website, just getting that stuff out there. But it's also, I think, like, and don't get me wrong, I feel like what Maria's talking about is definitely more like it's a natural thing. I don't think it's something that like all of a sudden like we're gonna do something and everyone's gonna be talking about us. Again, it's really like consistent and showing up and like
Right.
doing a good job, and then eventually
Right. the
just
word of
how
mouth.
natural,
Word
just
of
yeah,
mouth.
just how natural referrals happen. I don't think there's anything that you can do to like orchestrate that happening further. It's just really about building your community.
It becomes organic at that some
Yes,
point.
and if you can build a community around Esquire Title too, a Facebook group where like even if people aren't using you, you're doing things like this lunch and learn that are unique and out of the box, and like just offering them advice, giving them value. Like I said, when people also feel a sense of community and connection, they're absolutely going to want to promote you more to their people.
Got it. And then
I'll get to you guys.
one last question is when you mentioned getting real-time responses to what you need, is that formal surveys? I mean, how are you getting?
No, I'm talking
Feedback.
just had like literally just talking to people in comments. Like if you post something about one of your closings and someone's like, oh, I can't wait to have my dream house or whatever, you'll be like, what's your dream house look like? Or what, you know, just something, just engaging them, and being there in the conversation and making it come naturally. Like we're living in a world where everyone's obsessed with AI all of a sudden, right? So the more human that we can make things, because I see already people are recognizing it. They're recognizing the words, the sentence structure, and they're moving away from it. So I think that people are really going to start to resonate with the more human things, and so the more human and authentic you can be. And again, that means if someone's commenting, oh, that I can't wait to buy my dream house, instead of being like, let us help you, it's more starting, what's your dream house look like, and you know, getting into that, starting a conversation.
Understood.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just gonna say, because when it comes to like ads, because I'm 22 years old, I'm a college student, and the ads that I get, I see most of my ads on things like YouTube, Instagram, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not on Facebook. I don't know anyone under 25 who's on Facebook.
Bear with me one
Well,
second.
Thanks for making everyone in the room feel
Oh,
old.
man.
Just kidding.
That was my goal, but no.
That's my goal.
Here's my thing, like sometimes you'll get ads for things, right?
Sure.
That are just not, like even if they try to appeal to your demographic, they're just not something realistically someone like you can get into. Like I get plenty of car ads, I get plenty of housing ads,
Sure.
and it's not that I'm not interested in cars or housing, but the cars and housing that they're advertising to me is not something that's accessible to me. Like I can't afford a $100,000 Tesla.
Right.
I can't afford a house. Now, if you were advertising things like apartments or like hand-me-down cars, it'd be different. But I see that most of the ads that are on Instagram, like even though they're customized, most of the ads that are on Instagram, they're directed towards a younger crowd. But at least they try to be. But it feels like they have an idea of young people in their head, and then in execution it just falls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely about like knowing your target audience a lot better, because again, I love going back to the hairdresser example. You know, you could be a hairdresser that's more like the hair cuttery route, where it's for people who are just looking for an affordable, or you can be like a stylist to the stars and you're maybe promoting haircuts that cost like $400. So it's all about finding the people who would pay the $400, or finding the people who need the cheap haircuts, you know? So, and that sounds like it's like a targeting issue within their own like social media ad management, which is I don't do social media ad management. I used to, but that's a whole other world. But yeah, it just sounds like targeting the wrong people, and that's why it's so important to target the right people, because it wastes their money.
You'll have people come on campus, like on campus, trying to sell us things, and it's just like, even if we could like afford this, like what are we gonna do with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing if they're trying to like get a future customer down the road, but they come here very aggressive and they want sales, and it's just like, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just a great example of how important your target audience is, because you could really be wasting time trying to sell to like the wrong people.
And they're annoying. They'll stop you like as you're walking to class, like, hey, buy this. It's just like, no, I'm late.
Yeah, and then it turns you off to the brand. Like that's the impression that it leaves too. Like you don't want your brand leaving that impression of like, oh, there's another email from them again. You know, so it's a good point.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, so copy audit, obviously you're referring to like Dunkin' Donuts and Nike and things like that, where people remember those statements, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Wait, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Copy audit, if you were to define copy audit in one sentence, what would you say?
Oh no! So this is something that I do just to connect with people. It's like a 15-minute call. I'll get on a Zoom call with you, and usually I just share my screen and go through your website. Or if you have an email sequence that you wanted to send me ahead of time, I can do that. But I just hop on for 15 minutes and just kind of go through and see where things could be better.
In the beginning of the presentation, you were copywriting. So copyright in regards to these things you remember, right? Nike and so forth.
Yeah.
Thing is, they spend millions of dollars to get people to remember that. And even when they do, people don't remember things. It's hard to, you have to spend a lot of money to get people to remember you or something about you. That's the thing. It's a costly endeavor to get people to remember that. It's like, I did a survey at Heineken, does anybody know what the symbol for Heineken is? Now, I spent millions on
Just
it.
the red star.
Exactly, very good. But you're
I
sharp. You're very good. You're sharp on that. But the average person here would not know that red star. And I did a survey where I was watching commercials and
Yeah.
maybe like a focus study group, maybe $100, and still I didn't remember it. They were trying to determine if they kept showing that red star, would people remember that? But so that's the thing. It's been millions.
And you're also talking about really big corporations too that have these giant target audiences. So it is a little bit, I don't want to say different, but for like our purposes is maybe like small business owners or startups or whatever we are. That copywriting is really important to get people to take action in the moment and to get to know who we are. Like everyone knows what Heineken is, right? But not everyone knows what your creative concierge is. I wish they did.
Yeah.
But so it is a little bit different in that sense because it's not, I would say for the smaller corporations, it's not even about getting people to remember our taglines. That was really just my way of introducing what copywriting is. It's about people to get the action that we want them to take in the moment.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Now you said about emails, but texting. You touch a little more about texting people, the pros and cons of that, or?
Yeah, I mean, SMS, SMS marketing is definitely a great tool because I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but I do know it is a really high percentage on open rates. Because unlike email, our texts, it's a lot, there's just something about getting a text message that's very different than getting lost in your emails. Text messages become very personal. It's another place you definitely don't want to overstay your welcome, but text message marketing is so effective.
Once they block you, that's it.
Once they block you, that's it. Once they unsubscribe, that's it. So you got to be very meaningful in what you do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think for some small businesses, it's about when you're sending like blast emails, very important to be very specific of what your message is going to be.
Yes.
Because I remember a couple of years ago, I was working for the marketing department for a tech preparation company, and I used to write emails for high school students, and it was more about educating them about the importance of, because it was in Puerto Rico, and in Puerto Rico you don't have to take the SAT, so many people don't know about it, or how the process is. So it was more about educating them. And I went to a college fair, and when I introduced myself, oh, you are Jeannie, I always receive your emails and blah, and I felt like a celebrity.
Yes, I love that.
Because it was so exciting, the fact that somebody, at least I know that somebody's reading my emails, and they expect them every time I send it out. So
I love that. I love when someone answers one of my emails and responds back to me. I'm like, yes, I did it. But it is, it's good, it's exciting.
Yes, it
That's
is.
awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. Oh, I also have this side as well. I have it on the table. I have a DIY copywriting book also. It kind of helps you if you're a starter in copywriting. There's that. So, and those are on the table as well. But thank you guys so much. And that's it.
Encore.
Encore.
Do it again.
Let's do it all over again.
We want to hear some jokes now.
Some